Hello everyone and welcome to my I'm a Celebrity 2025 episode 2 review. So at the beginning of the episode we found out that we currently have 10 campmates in the I'm a Celebrity jungle. Eddie was walked on by a rat during his sleep. Kelly explained to the others that they obviously had their bed of luxury, bed of paradise, and when she was brushing her teeth she dropped her toothbrush. Ruby explained that 10 years ago she studied cognitive therapy and, got some of the other campmates into doing meditating. She called herself Rice Woman, yet overcooked the rice and the beans. They decided to have a morning meeting as a team. Eddie explained that they should all be there for each other because they're not all going to have amazing days. Martin said that they should think about obviously supporting each other. Shona said that she doesn't want her anxiety to get in the way and ruin her experience. So I guess it was really nice to see her kind of open up at this point because I don't think any of them had kind of spoken about anything deep at this point. And then Alex just jumped in and said, well, you've got us here, so, you'll be absolutely fine. And then H kind of put a question out asking whether they thought that Ant or Dec was better looking. And Lisa said that she thinks Dec would be too kind and Ant would give you a good night. So not sure what she's referring to there, but hey ho. In terms of the divey, so this was the first Bush Tucker trial, and obviously it was voted in as Ginge and Ruby who were going to be taking that on, and it was actually, the first trial was actually an eating trial. So Ant and Dec basically revealed that there were a lot of different celebrities that go to this restaurant, so the likes of Maya Jama, for example, and being the first meal, Ginge had to eat a meal named after her called the Cryer Jama, which was cockroaches, mealworms and dehydrated critters. Ruby had her meal, which was Grimothy Chalamet even, which was Whitterby grub and cricket garnish. Ginge had Margot Gobby, so a bull's tongue and a fish eye glaze. Ruby had Ronan teating, which was a cow's teat and a tongue garnish. Ginge had slime and cow, which was snails and beachworms. Ruby had Dame Bench, which was vomit fruit. Ginge had Russell toe, so camel toe and cockroach infused. And Ginge basically said that he absolutely loves cheesecake and banoffee pie, because I think here at this point he was kind of gagging a little bit, so Ruby just kept saying to him, oh, you love cheesecake, you love cheesecake. The next one, Ruby had huge Sackman, so pig's testicle, seaweed, and she said that she thought she was pregnant after eating that. Ginge had Ben Bumberbatch, so crocodile anus, and Ruby had Knob Beckett, which was a bull's penis. But they did manage to get 10 out of the 10 stars on their mission. In the next trial, it was called the Jungle Doomsday Vault. So obviously we were nominating to see who was going to be up for that. Ruby was trying some of her chat-up lines, and I think she used Eddie as kind of like her example, and they were like, oh, pretend he's just at the bar and whatever. And then she just said, that's some ass. And then Alex and H began presenting like a spoof of Cilla Black's Blind Date. So Alex became Cilla, and there was 3 of the contestants who were obviously trying to sell themselves to Ruby, and then H came in as Graham, who I think was probably Cilla Black's extra presenter or whatever on the show. For Kev's Deals on Wheels, it was called Bingo Balls, and it was Kelly and Martin who were taking part in this challenge. It was a grid with different numbers, and they basically had to answer the question by putting the amount of balls of that colour. So if it was green 4 and the answer was 4, they'd have to put 4 green balls down the tube thing. And some of their questions included things like dartboard numbers, how many sides of a hexagon, and how many years of marriage is silk. Obviously, they completed that mission, and they had to decide whether the higher number was the amount of movies that Kelly had been in, or the amount of top 40 singles that Spandau Ballet had. They were kind of umming and ahhing, but they thought, Spandau Ballet is such a big band. Martin Kemp was obviously a part of that. So they went with that as the answer. It was correct. And then they got rainbow buttons, or they're called jazzies, I think, in cinemas as their little treat. H also kind of started a new conversation starter, and if they were to change their job and not be famous, what would they do? Ginge said he'd probably be the Manchester football manager. Kelly said she'd be a professional dog walker because they obviously get paid quite a lot of money. Martin said he'd always want to be a surgeon, so, fixing people that were a little bit broken. And H explained that he would have wanted to have been the James Bond. and saying he wanted to be an actor one day. Or there are those people that obviously go across the world and watch penguins fall over, so he'd be a penguin picker. Jack explained to Lisa that obviously, well, Lisa asked him whether he was shocked or expecting the death of his father, Ozzy Osbourne, and he said he didn't really expect it to happen so quickly, but obviously he was aware of the health issues that his dad had. They then played a quick concentration game, so going around in a circle, naming different subjects at school. And then obviously it was perfect timing for dinner. So they had kangaroo tail, russets, pimientos, and vegetables. Alex explained that everyone was trying to do a little bit of everything, so it was very chaotic. And then Ruby was like, I'm not really enjoying this. And Ginge whispered to her, look, we're not doing it for us, we're doing it for them. Kelly explained that the cooking situation had just not worked out as of yet, and that the person doing the next trial was either going to be Eddie or H, and they found out that the next trial was going to be H. So it was a very interesting episode. There was a lot going on. I think a lot of conversation starter topics from H. He was kind of, wanting to try and get to know people. It's actually still amazing that he, of his caliber of fame is actually in the I'm a Celebrity Jungle, because I think it's because he's a British rapper, because he's British, he's done a lot for the British community, and that's probably why he's in there. But yeah, in terms of that trial that Ginge and Ruby did, absolutely phenomenal. They absolutely smashed that and was very, very funny to watch. The whole cooking situation, a bit of a madness. I think, everyone kind of wants to get involved because everyone wants to learn and everyone wants to, have their part of camp. But, sometimes there are louder voices and sometimes there are quieter ones that are just, sitting back. And then the whole Ruby situation with the meditating and stuff, again, that's probably going to allow them to just cool down and relax a little bit. And they all got their little bit of chocolate. So, to end the night with kangaroo maybe wasn't great, but they had a little bit of a chocolate and they had a little bit of fun throughout the day. So, yeah, we're just watching to see H prepare for his Bush Tucker trial. It's called the Jungle Doomsday Vault. I have no idea what to expect, but we'll see what happens in the next episode.